And welcome to Sasquatch Says. Look who has joined me. She is back. She is doing better. It is so glad to see you there, Callie. How you doing?
Oh, I'm recovering. Sorry about the appearance, everybody. For those
No,
that don't know, I'm recovering from surgery, so just kind of chilling at home, trying to take it easy. So,
no apologies are necessary. We are just happy that you are well enough to be back with us. Thank you for joining us. And we will go ahead and talk about the Avalanche since you haven't got to talk about them for a couple of weeks.
yeah.
So I don't have you even been able to talk about the Stanley Cup? I can't even remember. It's been a while.
No, the last one that we had was us saying that we were gonna have one the following week, and
Yes.
have been kind of AWOL since between work and surgery and everything else. So.
Well, that is all right. Well, since you have not been here since you actually went to the parade, how was the parade when you were there? How did you enjoy it? What festivities did you enjoy?
So I actually was at Civic Center Park. For those that don't know, I live in northern Colorado up by Fort Collins. So it took me about an hour or so to get down to Denver. So my boyfriend and I actually left our house here at like 3:30 a.m. to get down there at 5 to get a good spot.
Hey, gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, we were front row, so I mean, we were behind like the ADA seating, but I still call that front row. Like there was
Hey,
nobody in front of us. For me, that's a big deal. I'm 5'2", so people in front of me is a big thing.
right? Yeah. I mean, it matters for you. I mean,
It does.
so
I
I
wish
get it,
it didn't.
right? But hey, you just deal with the cards you're dealt, right? That's all you can
Exactly.
do.
Exactly. Just wake up at 3:30 in the morning to get to the parade to get a good seat.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's what you got to do when you're that short. I mean, I don't have those problems. I don't know what that's like, but hey, I
See,
can
so you didn't
understand.
have to show up then.
Right, I didn't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can get up
Right.
late and still be able to see over just about everybody.
Right, exactly.
So, what was the craziest thing you saw at the parade?
Oh gosh. I mean, it to me it was one of the better parades just because of the fan interaction that they had. I think between Tampa's last two being on boats, like, yeah, that's cool and all, but you didn't really see them interact with the fans. These
Right,
guys were like tossing beers to the fans. They were doing squirt gun beers at the fans. The fans were tossing beers at them. Like, even Jared Bednar shotgunned a beer.
right. I love that.
Like,
I
oh
love
my God,
that.
they were doing shoe skis. Like, it was out of control, but in the best way possible.
Right,
And the unfortunate thing was a lot of people were like, "Mer, people look up to these guys, blah blah blah." But it's like, okay, how about instead of bashing them, you educate your child and say, "Look, they're all of age. They're all drinking responsibly. None of them are driving. Like they just had their dream come true, so they're celebrating."
right.
Educate children instead of saying that they did something wrong because they didn't do anything wrong.
Correct. Karen, deal with parenting your children. It's not our job.
Right.
That's your job. So,
Right. Ugh.
if your kids can't understand that adults have adult beverages when they're happy, I don't know what to tell you. Get over
Yeah.
yourself.
Like,
But I
how
get
many
where you
kids have seen worse things from their parents or like on the news or whatever
right,
movie, TV show? Like you see worse things than a couple of guys drinking some beers. It wasn't like there was any nudity, there wasn't even any PDA between the wives and their husbands. Like
right.
none of that was happening.
No, I
So,
mean,
like chill.
just good old wholesome drunk fun. Like that.
Right.
I mean, Sam Girard doing the Tebow while downing a beer was epic. Bo
Right.
Byram almost getting thrown into the fans because he was being too friendly to the fans. I guess
Yep.
you know those things were absolutely epic. So I am glad that you got to enjoy that before you had to go through what you're going through now. But again, you're back here. We're here to talk. So let's go ahead and talk about Avalanche and what's going on currently. So the biggest thing that seems to be a talking point both locally and nationally is what are the Avalanche going to do with Sam Girard? He seems to be a really popular talking point in trades. Does trading him make any sense at this point?
So that's a hard question to answer because for me, while people say, trade him so that we can re-sign Kadri or whatever the case is, we don't know if we got rid of Girard's contract. We don't even know that Kadri would sign here again. And the other thing that you have to look at is the guys that we have to re-sign next season. Well, yes, we will be dumping Eric Johnson's contract. That'll probably fix into Nathan McKinnon's contract, but that's not going to fix into the rest of the guys that have to re-sign. Like the Avs, the next couple of seasons have really big contracts that they need to nail down. And I know Joe Sakic is trying to play the long game with these guys because obviously these are his core players. He knows what he wants. Now he knows what he needs to win a cup, and he wants to keep those core guys in place. And I'm sorry, even if it's a friendly contract, Nathan McKinnon is getting paid. Cale Makar is getting paid. They might take hometown discounts, but guess what? They're still going to be 10 plus million. Mikko Rantanen got a $9+ million contract. You can't tell me that those guys aren't going to get more than that.
I mean, yeah, most definitely. It's absolutely asinine to me to people that want to try and act like this is the NFL and that the salary cap is just going to keep jumping. It's just going to keep jumping at massive amounts. This is the NHL, not the NFL. That one letter makes a big difference in the pocketbook. Okay.
Honestly, I do think there will be a significant jump just because the playoff views were up by like 50% or something ridiculous. I think that's because of the network change. We'll see what happens next season. We'll see if they maintain this. But I think that you have to sign those guys to long-term deals because if they sign a short-term deal, then they're just going to want more money and more money and more money because they're only going to get better and better and better. So if you sign a long-term deal, then that deal might look like, for lack of a better term, shit now. But in 5 years, it's going to look like a good damn deal.
Yeah, and it could. And that's kind of the point I was getting to is that, yes, it will move up, but it is not going to move up as significantly as you will see in the NFL, where they're making 12 billion as opposed to the about 4.5 billion, I believe, the NHL made this past season. So that's a big gap. So therefore, the salary cap's a big gap as well. So yes, in hockey terms, it will look better, but you can't just sit out here and give guys contracts because you assume that the cap is going to go up later. Like a Kadri, like you said, you clear the cap. If he even does sign, you got Nathan McKinnon, you got Bo Byram, you got Cale Makar. The list goes on of guys you got to sign going forward. So yes, the cap is going to grow, but you have all of these contracts that are going to eat up that growth. So yes, that Kadri contract might look better if you didn't have a McKinnon, a Makar, a Byram to sign next year. That's the big deal about trading Girard just to free up cap space. Yes, technically you can, but is it really the long game that you want to play that you just mentioned Sakic is playing?
And the other thing that you have to factor in, while we have the defense now to be able to give up Girard, when Eric Johnson retires, do we have the same defense that we can give him up?
Exactly. And do we have a guy in the pipeline that can replace him, as you're saying, which we have depleted over the last few years with these trades for the Nichushkins, for the Kadris, for all these other guys? Is there anybody left to replace that guy? I really don't think that there is.
And as we saw from this last draft, Joe Sakic traded a bunch of picks. So it's not like we have this all-star pick that we have that we can develop to fill that position right now either. And if he wants to keep continuing to win Stanley Cups, I do expect him to make trades at the trade deadline for the holes that we need like he did this year. That might not be the fix because the Stanley Cup is one of the hardest things to win. But he's going to do his damnedest to make sure that happens. And guess what? He doesn't want to trade players, so he's going to trade picks.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I've said before, and I am wholeheartedly in the belief that as long as a Kroenke owns a team, it is F them picks. They don't care about rookies. They don't want rookies. I mean, unless it's a generational talent, they're going to get rid of the pick. If it can get them a proven veteran commodity, they don't care. It is straight F them picks in every organization that they run at this point. I don't think that can be disputed. So yes, like you said, they don't give away the known commodities. They give away the lottery picks to get the known commodities. So
Well, and I'll be honest, I don't even think that they need that player at this point because
not
they have Nathan McKinnon, they have Mikko Rantanen, they have Kale McCarr, they have Bowen Byram. The only thing that they're really missing is that all-star goalie.
right.
And my thing with the all-star goalie, my theory is it's like, Babe Ruth. Like we had a Babe Ruth, so anything is just going to be like meh, in comparison.
Right.
Because like after Patrick Waugh, like meh, everybody else is like me, whatever, you
Yeah.
know. So we're kind of snake bit in that area. We just need a goalie that can get the job done.
Right. Yes. And that's really the avenue that Sakic has taken. I mean, he's let Grubauer walk. He's let Kemper walk. He is not going to pay for a top tier goalie. He knows that this team has enough offense and enough defense that a goalie just has to be good enough. They just proved it with a Stanley Cup, the ultimate proof. Like you don't get to question it anymore. A lot of people were questioning it before this year. They questioned letting Grubauer go. They questioned letting every other guy go, trading off Varlamov, all those guys. You don't get to question it anymore. The man
But
obviously
then
knows
the
what he's doing.
answer to that question also, you have to look at what Grubauer did once he was away from the Avs. It was abysmal. He was a joke. Like that was so bad. And so clearly they didn't trade this all-star goalie that everybody thought he was. It was
Right.
everyone else on the team, and Joe Sakic knows that, especially now. I'm not saying that Darcy Kemper isn't a good goalie, but he's not some freaking maniac all-star goaltender.
No,
Not.
he's just not. No,
He's not.
he's just an average goaltender, and that's fine. That's okay. That's not a slight on him, but that is all the Avalanche need because they have so much star power everywhere else. And this is why I don't think trading Girard makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, we don't have anything in the pipeline to replace him. We have all the offense to replace Kadri. I love Kadri. I would love to have Kadri back. I think he does add, especially to the power play unit, but you can replace him with guys you already have. Like we've been saying, you don't have a guy to replace Sam Girard.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see how some of the other players develop. We have Martin Kaut still playing for the Eagles. He kind of went up and down a little bit in the season. See how he develops. Maybe you push up an Alexander Newhook at that point and see how he does as well. Maybe you push up a JT Comfer. Like we have players that we can kind of play around with a little bit, figure out how it goes, and fill that position. But with Girard, again, right now we have players, but we might not once Johnson leaves.
Right. Exactly. So it's that that poison pill of winning a championship. You want to keep everybody, but you just can't. It happens to every championship team. You're going to lose. I mean, the fact that the Avalanche might only lose one guy is absolutely insane to me. The most they lose
One
half
big
the
guy.
team. Yeah, one big guy exactly. One guy that really made a difference. So if that's the case, I mean, you got to chalk it up to Sakic. He did his job. He kept everybody that mattered. Yeah, he lost a guy, but sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes the line breaks and you lose the big fish. That it
Yeah.
just happens.
Well, and I think that Lecky has also shown his
Yes.
position on the team, if you will. And while he might not be a Kadri replacement, he might be a replacement for Andre Burakovsky, someone like that.
Yes.
And then you put him with someone that can play the center position, and maybe he makes them better as well. Maybe they have instant chemistry. That's the factor that we never know, is the chemistry that someone can have. I know Matt Duchene is hated so much amongst the Avs fans, but
Yes.
there was certain players that he had like instant chemistry with, and you were like, "Oh my god, what is this?" Like Thomas Fleischman, there it is, and Peter Mueller. He had instant chemistry with those guys, and so we just need someone that will have that instant chemistry with Lecky, like Duchene did with those two.
I like that comp. I agree with you. Shane is very hated, but very good comp, very good scenario to put in there. And I
Hmm.
see somebody was here. Appreciate you. Give it a like. We would love it. And so, just so we can play both sides of this, if Girard were to be traded, what kind of package do you believe he could net?
Oh God. I think that's so hard with his injury being at the end of the season, because at the end of the day, any general manager is going to be like, well, but he had a broken sternum. Is he going to return? What kind of long term effects does that have? Is he going to be able to breathe as well? Is he going to be able to move as well? Is he going to be able to shoot as well? Is he going to be able to take a shot? Is he going to be able to hit people? Is like, literally, is he going to be able to play? Like, I know he's going to play. I know he's going to return, but is he going to be the player that he was before? And that's the secret card that any other general manager can pull on Joe Sakic to make the deal turn sour. So for me, if I'm Joe Sakic, there's too many ifs in trading Girard that I just don't even play that card.
Yes, and I'm glad that you brought that up because that was going to be my point too. Is that injury? A lot of people use this as a euphemism, but this man literally had his chest caved in.
Mhm,
Like that's not an exact. He literally had his chest caved in. That
mhm.
is why the man left the ice and did not return.
Yep.
So yes, that is a very serious injury, and the fact that you are not going to get max value for him because of that is another reason why trading him just doesn't make sense. Maybe at the trade deadline, if you're absolutely desperate, you've had injuries everywhere, whatever the case may be, and you need to have some big package, and he's reproven himself, he's healthy, whatever. Maybe at that point, but right now it's just asinine to try and force a trade just simply to clear salary cap for something that might not happen. And so speaking of things that might not happen, Nazem Kadri watch reaches day 7, I think, at this point now. Is it as likely as some locals think that he's coming back?
So it's so hard to say because I do think that Denver holds a very special place in his heart because of the support that he received with the I Stand with Nas and all of that. His family received amazing support throughout the entire Stanley Cup playoffs. He has that support system with that too many men on the ice shirt that was made by a fan and is distributed for his basically his organization, his non for profit organization. And so I think there are a lot of things that Nas would see that maybe don't necessarily factor into money, years, typical contract things for players, in the sense that Denver plays in an emotional side for him. But this isn't home for him. Canada is home for him. It's hard to say. I don't think he's going to go back to the Leafs, but Canada is home for him. I could see him returning to Canada. I don't know if I see him playing anywhere else stateside. Um, I think maybe he is trying to see what happens with Sakic. Maybe he signs a cheaper 1 year deal, see what the cap does, see if he can get, a better deal next year. Who knows? Um, it's hard to say with these guys. Hockey's such a weird sport too sometimes, where these guys do things not for the money, which you don't see very often in
Right.
so I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm honestly unsure what Nas is going to do.
Right. I'm in the same boat. I'm much more unsure. I don't get, maybe they have some insider information that we don't, but I don't get the confidence some of these local pundits have in Kadri coming back, that it's a done deal. Girard's going to get traded. Kadri's coming back. I really think that this is going to drag out. This is going to be one of those really long, exhausting type of deals where it's just Kadri hasn't got the offers that he thought he was going to get after a career year, both in the regular season and in the playoffs. I think that people are still probably using his past against him to try and hedge bets. Like, hey, is this really you, or was this just a 1 year off because it's your contract year? So I really do like your thought process of him coming back on a 1 year prove it deal. I think that might be his best option if he wants to maximize his value, which at his age you really kind of want to do. He doesn't have very many contracts left in him. So I think coming back to Colorado on another one, like on a 1 year prove it deal, would maximize his value. Now, if he did, like you said, what hockey players do that you just don't see in other sports, and he does take that major pay cut, that major haircut to stay in Denver long term, because again, I am sure, like you said, he has got a very big place in his heart for Colorado fans, as we all have for him. So like you said, I don't see him going anywhere stateside. Canada is going to be where he goes if it's not Colorado. So with that being said, which team do you believe he will end up with?
Um, God, that's so hard.
It is, isn't it?
That's so hard. I don't like that question.
Says I plead the fifth.
Yeah, can I plead the fifth? Like, I don't know. I think either he stays in Colorado or he ends up in Canada. Is that a good enough answer? I don't know.
I mean, I guess we'll take what we can get.
It's like 8 teams, possibly.
Yeah, there's definitely those, a lot of possibilities. To me, the one I think is the most intriguing, and I hate to say it, is like the Calgary Flames or the Edmonton Oilers. Those are the two that make the most sense to me. I know they'd have to, especially Calgary, would have to do some gymnastics on the cap to get them, but that again, I would hate to see it. I don't want to see it, but if it's not Denver, those are the two that make the most sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I think the Flames have lost a lot in losing Johnny Hockey and probably Kachuk now as well. So I could definitely see them trying to land a big fish. Whether that's Nas or not, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Is there a bigger fish than Nas at this point?
That's available. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I would have to look at a list because I think a few guys have signed.
Because in the pre free agency rankings, he was ranked third behind Johnny and I can't remember the name now. Hold on. Let's see. Get the list up so I can remember the dude's name. So, and I'm pretty sure that they both have signed. So if that's the case, at least by the prognosticators, he should be the best one available.
Right.
Let's see. Claude Giroux still available? I thought he was signed. Oh, available. There we go. Update. So yeah, if my options are like PK Subban, Philip Kessel, Patrice Bergeron, Ryan Kessler, or Alexander Radulov, or Kadri, I think I'm going to take Kadri.
Yeah, I mean, I can see an appeal to the other guys, but most of them are older and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more of a gamble, I would say, than Nas would be. And I think it depends if you're looking short term, long term.
Right.
So depends on the team and
definitely fit. But yeah, I mean, as far as like overall, like especially offensively, definitely beyond a doubt, he's the best offensive piece left available, in my opinion. We can have an argument about that if you think differently, but looking at this list, I don't see anybody else that can touch him offensively. Definitely some better defenders, some more with more experience, things of that nature. But as far as offensively, I don't see anybody else that can touch him.
Yeah, I mean, I think Patrice Bergeron would be my other, like, hey, look at this guy.
Yeah.
those are my two big ones. I know Phil Kessel's great, but he's kind of on the older side.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's not really a hey, look at me anymore for
Yeah,
me.
35 years old. Well, Bergeron's almost 37.
Yeah, but Bergeron still is winning like Selkie trophies and
True.
all that kind of
Definitely has
stuff. So
more.
he's
Definitely
got
more to take. Yeah.
got a little bit more of the intangibles for me.
And less wear on the tire. Center doesn't get nailed as much as a forward does or a
Maybe
winger.
he'll come to Colorado. That would be sweet.
Hey man, I'm not complaining here. I would not be mad at all. Go for it, bro. We'll take you in. We'll be happy to have you. Most definitely.
Oh,
So, speaking of things getting around, Stanley Cup has made its round all the way to Jared Bednar at this point. So far, what is your favorite moment of the tour?
I mean, being biased as a first responder, I love whenever it shows up at like a station somewhere.
Okay.
So it showing up in like a Vale fire station was cool. JT Comfort took it to a fire station. I'm like, can one of y'all take it to my ambulance station? Like, I
was
love
waiting for
that. Hello.
Right, I would just, I just got to look at it and
Just
then
like, they're like, I'll name drop. Hello, first responder right here.
right?
No. It's the only time I would ever do that is like the Stanley Cup will come if you pimp yourself out. Yeah,
Right.
I pimp myself out. I'm a first responder. Let's do it.
And she talks about y'all. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it's a double whammy.
yeah,
She talks about you and she's a first responder. So
right.
let's pimp
Have
her
an
out.
act
Let's get her the stamp.
two. It would be epic. Let's do it. Um, but no, so for me, obviously, bias side of me is just anytime it shows up anything first responder, I'm like, yeah, thank my buddies, like
Yes.
show
My
them that
fellows.
slight jealousy tick, but it's fine.
Right. It's okay. It's okay. As long
It's
as they're
okay.
happy. It's
It's
okay.
fine.
I think mine are always, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a dad, maybe I'm a sucker for kids, but it's always been the little things that they've done with their kids, like with Landeskog, his little girl drinks the juice out of the cup.
Mhm.
Who was it? It was a defender that was eating Sundays.
Jack
Who was? Sorry, say it.
Jack Johnson.
Yes. Okay. Yes. The Johnson kids. Johnson and his kids eating the Sundays out of the Stanley Cup. Like, that thing has got to be the most unsanitary thing in the world, but nobody has a problem drinking or eating out of it at any point. Like, I know they got to wash it and all those things in between, but still, that's got to be the most gross thing in the world. I kind of feel bad for the guy that has the job of following it around. Just kind of. I mean, still a pretty awesome job. I think I'd take it, but I hope he's not the guy that's got to clean. I hope they pay somebody that's got to clean it, because that thing's got to be gross.
You know what? I feel like at this point I would take that job just to touch the Stanley Cup. You know what I mean? Like, I will spit
True.
in my baby if you want me to. I don't care. Just let me touch it.
Just let me touch it.
Just let me touch it.
Just one finger. Just touch it.
Touch it.
Let me poke at it.
Yes. I think that was okay. So, side note on the whole first responder topic thing and parade thing.
Go for it.
So, I found out the other day one of our paramedics is also a firefighter for, I believe it's North Metro, and he was driving one of the floats.
What?
He was driving one of the fire trucks.
Word.
He
Now
didn't
that's
have
a
any
job
players.
I would enjoy.
He had staff members, but still, like, you were driving the fire truck in the Stanley Cup parade?
Bro,
His
where's the
name's
YouTube?
Harold.
Where's the Instagram reels? We needs all of the videos and pictures, bro.
Shout out.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, shout out to Harold.
There you go. Go Harold. Go Harold. Go Harold. You had an awesome job, bro. That is a job I would love to have. Because,
Yes.
I mean, could you imagine the fun he had to have had with all those drunk grown men and women running around like a bunch of children? That had to be one of the funnest times
Yeah,
of his
he
life.
said that Logan O'Connor and JT Confer were on the truck in front of him, so he got to watch them run
Oh my.
everywhere.
I'm sure. Okay, that right there would have made all the rest of the year worth it. Like, it doesn't even matter what happens for the rest of the year. I'm on cloud nine. If I got to watch that, yeah, you can't mess with the rest of my year, let alone day.
Totally. JT Confer also stole a police bicycle. I don't know if you saw that in the parade.
I did see that he was on a bike, but I didn't realize he stole it from a cop.
Yeah, he's like, this is my bag now. And they're like, yeah, okay, bro. Like, you're a champ. Go do it.
Right, go do it, buddy.
Live your
Yeah,
life.
that's great. Yeah, I saw him on a bike, but it didn't compute that he took it from a cop. That's great.
Yep. Yep.
If
So
only. I guess to be able to do those things, I mean, just win a championship, you can do whatever the heck you want in your home city, even take things from cops.
if I was that cop, I'd be like, bro, just autograph it and bring it back.
Right.
Like,
Right. I mean,
good. We're good.
yeah. I am not judging the cop whatsoever. I'd have done the same thing. Like, here you
Totally.
go.
It's yours now.
It's all yours, bro.
Yeah.
Just make sure
I'll
that
get a
I
new
get
one.
a picture real quick so I can show my friends
Yeah.
that you took my bike, and then we're cool.
Then we're good.
And then we're good. Just one picture. That's all.
Yeah.
They'll never believe this otherwise.
Totally.
But speaking of how the Stanley Cup goes around, no other trophy gets passed around like this. No other trophy gets to be, just the same trophy every single year, as we see with the Lombardi Trophy, World Series Trophy. Everybody gets their own version. It stays in theirs. The Stanley Cup does not stay with anybody. That's one of the reasons why I love that little advertisement they had during the Stanley Cup of having it passed down through the years. So, is this not the best tradition in sports? Is the Stanley Cup not the best tradition?
Biasly, absolutely it is. I'm always going to say that the Stanley Cup is the best. I mean, for me, there's a video of LeBron James just looking at the Stanley Cup in amazement, and he touches it and he's like, holy snikes. Like, this is a trophy. And Peyton Manning, like, he was sitting there with the cup, and he was amazed by it as well, which he also made it look tiny, which was impressive. If you can see those photos, tag us in them, because I need that photo in my life again. But I think any player that you look from another sport, they look at that cup in amazement because they know how amazing that really is and how historic it is to win that. And not only do you get your name engraved in it, but those rings get retired into the Hall of Fame, so no one can ever take that away from you.
Right. Ever. Like that, it's way too amazing the way that the NHL has done this year after year after year. It just gets better and better. There's never a moment I've been like, this is just dumb. This is played out. It's just every year it gets better and better and better. So yes, even unbiasedly, because I love all the sports. I love football. I love basketball. I love baseball. That's why I have all these podcasts. That's why I talk about all of them. But breaking it down all the way to the nuts and bolts, the Stanley Cup is by far the best tradition in sports. I don't care whether it's college sports, professional sports. You can talk about all those little bowls and crap between Auburn and Alabama, or Colorado and Colorado State, or in the NFL with the Lombardi. There's nothing that matches just the magical nature of the trip of the Stanley Cup.
Well, and if I'm being honest, the Stanley Cup is the only one, when it's given out, that gives people chills regularly. Like, sitting there watching Gabriel Landeskog give it to Erik Johnson. I was at the station when the Avs won the Stanley Cup. Go figure. EMS gods were great, though. They let me watch the entire game uninterrupted. Like, it was phenomenal. And the entire celebration. Like,
right? Isn't that nice?
But sorry, my phone's dying, so I'm getting my charger.
You're good. We're just taking a tour.
Yeah, just a tour of my house. It's fine. But yeah, so for me, like, I was sitting on the couch at the station, and I was you can ask my preceptor this. I was going, give it to Erik Johnson, give it to Erik Johnson, give it to Erik Johnson. And then he handed it to Erik Johnson, and I was like, yeah! And just like died at the station a little bit inside. Then I don't know, no one else probably cares about this like I did, but they were like showing all the guys lifting the cup and all that kind of stuff. And then JT Compher was next, and then they cut to an interview, and there was no video of JT Compher lifting the Stanley Cup.
So it's so infuriating. But I mean,
and then I died.
Right. And then doesn't Colorado have like two of the greatest like storylines of a Stanley Cup between Ray Bork and now EJ. Like, there's two guys that have been through it, finally got that cup. I mean, I think they have probably two of the best stories ever.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about Eric Johnson's career, he almost called it quits at the end of last season. I don't know how many people know that, but he'll talk about it. He almost retired, and then Joe Sakic called him, and he was like, "Come on, dude, like one more year, one more year." And he was like, "Okay, fine." So he like last minute decided, "Okay, I'll play this year." And then the Avs won the freaking Stanley Cup. How close was Eric Johnson to never winning a Stanley Cup?
Oh my
And
goodness.
didn't happen. He won a cup.
Yes, I
No.
mean, that makes the storyline even better. Like, I didn't even know the fact of him almost retiring and then almost walking off in the sunset prematurely. Like, that's insane to think of. What if he would have? Like,
Yeah.
how much would that have ate him to sit there and watch them go out and finally get that cup and he wasn't there? Like, that that thought process, that timeline that's unfathomable.
Unfortunately, we did see that storyline as well. Matt Calvert
True.
retired,
Yes.
um, and he
Mm.
watched the Avs win, and he has an interview where he says he's so excited for all of these guys and he's so happy that they won the cup. But it was also painful for him to watch because he was almost with him, he was almost forced into retirement with his injury. He's not that old.
No.
Um, he's an agent now, which great, amazing. He is, I don't know if anyone has ever met him before. I have. He is a very nice human being. I love him dearly. And that is the one thing that I wish he could have won the Stanley Cup with the Avs this year.
Yeah. Only
So that one
32
hurts my
years
heart.
old. Yeah.
That one hurts my
Only
heart.
yeah. He's 5 years younger than me and was forced into retirement. Like, that's painful. I hadn't even thought about that, and I'm glad you brought that up because I don't think enough people have talked about the fact that yes, Matt Calvert did get kind of robbed, got gypped from the hockey gods, unfortunately due to that injury. Because yeah, I don't believe he does retire without that injury. That injury just kind of pushed it in, and unfortunately,
I
it
think
happened the year
he would
before.
have still been on the Avs this year. If he did not get injured, I don't think he would have been a player that Joe Sakic got rid of. He had so much heart and soul and gave out every single play. My friend Leslie and I travel to different arenas to watch the Avs play, and we had the unfortunate luck of seeing the Avs lose 7-1 in Tampa Bay. Um, and the only player that continued to play the entire game was Matt Calvert. And that was the moment that I wanted him to win a Stanley Cup, whether it was with the Avs or not. And then to see him go out like that just breaks my heart so much.
Right. So, still staying on this storyline, if Calvert does not retire, do the Avs go out and get Lehkonen?
I mean, I could see them still getting lucky, yeah. I think if Calvert's still playing, the hard part that you run into is more the Logan O'Connors or the Alex Newhooks, the fourth, third line players, not fifth line. Wow, losing it. Um, so
It's all right.
I think for me, it's more those guys that you wonder would they have played or not. Um, with a Matt Calvert in, I think that with Lecky, it was more he's more like a 1-2 line guy, especially once the final playoff push was happening. I think that Joe was like, okay, I need more of XYZ guy to get in there just in case XYZ gets injured, which we did have, and it turned out fine. But yeah, I don't know. For me, it's more the Logan O'Connors and the New Hooks.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and I think that would be a lot of fun to see both of them on the same team, and seeing how Bednar would try to use those two chess pieces. I think would have been a lot of fun, and I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see that. So, I guess something we'll never be able to enjoy. But before we go, I do want to also give everybody here listening what are Callie's keys to the off season and surviving without hockey.
Oh God. Um, Surviving without hockey is hard.
It
Um,
is.
I don't do well with it. Um, so for me, I try and fill my time with um other things. So right now, I've been trying to study paramedic protocols for work. So
Very
that's good. I watch lacrosse. I don't know if you've ever watched lacrosse, but it's like
good.
ground hockey.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. That's a good one for me.
hey, helps ease the pain a little bit. I get it.
Yeah. I would say lacrosse is mostly how I get through the season, and then you kind of get a little bit of the football in. You can get a little bit of baseball in as well. I like going to Rockies games. Not the biggest fan of watching them on TV.
I like that specification.
Yes. So I will go to a game.
Right?
Um but yeah, so for surviving for me it's that kind of stuff. You can also find articles to read to get your hockey fix, whether it's, the Athletic does good feel good stories, emotional stories, backstories on guys. You can get, good coverage from them if you want some good feel good stories. If the Avs pick up players, you can look into their backgrounds, figure out what their stories are, watch highlights, cry a little. It's fine.
It's okay. Just a little bit. Just a
It's
little bit.
Eat some ice cream. It's okay.
Always with the ice cream. It makes everybody feel better. It's
Yes.
okay. Just eat a
Get
little bit, cry a
up.
little bit. That's great.
Might be
Ice cream and tears.
fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Just ice cream and tears, and we'll be okay. It's
Ice
fine.
cream, tears, puppy.
There you go. Always the puppy. Got to
Puppy.
have the little soft, fluffy thing to rub on a little bit,
Yeah.
make you happy.
Yeah.
Those are some great keys right there. And speaking of reading articles, I have a summer break coming up, starting on Monday. So I have decided I'm gonna start writing again. I kind of missed writing. So well, screw it. Saturday, Sunday, I'm gonna start writing more articles. So y'all go check out the websites down in the description. The answer is 42media.net. Again, right down in the description. Don't have to remember it. Just go click on it. There will be new articles daily starting Sunday. I really miss writing, so yeah, I think I'm going to start doing that. Maybe someday Callie will bless the pages at some point, but no,
I will.
no. Okay, you
If
will.
you ever
Awesome.
need photography too, I would gladly get back into that as well.
Yes, I do need it. Everything. Yes, definitely. Photography. I would love to get, especially of any live shots. Like I'm going to training camp next Thursday, so I think I'm going to drag Dylan with me as well. So I don't know what you're doing next Thursday, but if you want to join us, we'll be out at Broncos training camp. So we're going to definitely use some videography and all that there as well. So that would be a lot of fun, and we'll be talking about that actually in about 45 minutes with Dylan on Breaking Broncos. So make sure if you need any information you need about training camp, tune in because it is a training camp special. We're going to be going over all the things that fans need to know of getting there and what to expect once training camp opens. So make sure you check that out. And again, we will be at training camp next Thursday. Maybe Callie will join us if she's feeling up to it. But I think this is a perfect place to end it. I think we had a great episode. I appreciate y'all that did come in, did give some love. We love you. We appreciate you. Make sure you're hitting the likes and the subscribes, all the red buttons, launch the nukes, clear the path so that way we can bring you the content you deserve the way you deserve right here with The Answer is 42. And as always, don't question the blue.